Okay, so this is part two, how to change out the internal parts of a shower valve body cartridge. So in part one, I showed how to do that, how to change the whole cartridge. And if you missed that, you can check that out. Now, if you want to see how to change the parts inside the cartridge, which is the less expensive option, then that's what I do a lot of times. If the cartridge overall is fine and I just want to rebuild it, so if I'm getting a leak from the spout dripping when the water's off, so that tells me that inside needs to be changed. And if I'm getting a leak around the handle, coming around, leaking behind a tile or out onto the escutcheon area, I know I have to change these O-rings. So there's 3 O-rings. So let's get started on changing the inside part. All you do is you grab it, push and twist, and pop it out. And that's the familiar part from Delta. These are the same type of spring and cones that you would find in a faucet, kitchen faucet. So all you do is you pop these out, just like this. It's a cone washer and a spring. You pop them out. Sometimes you'll use an awl or a dental pick type of thing here. Pop it out. Get the whole thing out. And just get some new parts from a kit. Put the springs back in. Fat side down, narrow side up to go inside the cone. Cone goes right back over. This is the back side of the cone. Top of the cone. Just pop it on. Fits right in there like that. Put the spring in wide, the wide side down, and the cone right over the top of that spring. And give it a little push, not too hard. Put it back in. Make sure that the plate in here is nice and clean. Find the grooves, put it on, and twist. Oops, there we go. Okay, so that's on, just like that. So on, off, put it down, on. There's some grooves, some slots. It's gonna slot. You'll feel it. So just give it a little twist until, so now I felt it pop into the groove. Now I'm gonna push down and twist. Okay, so that's that. Now how do we do the O-rings? You're gonna need a sharp awl or a sharp dental pick. This one's a bit wide. I'll use this one for this area, for the wide, the big O-ring, but I need something sharp for these small O-rings. So I have this awl right here. I'm just going to put it behind the O-ring. Let's get some light here. Put it behind the, let's go this way here. Put it behind the O-ring. And sometimes the cap will come off too. So if that's the case, you pop it right off. There is a gasket in here that you could change to. I find that it's the O-rings usually and those cone washers. But so let's show how to take that O-ring off. You just put the awl behind it and get it behind it just like that, and just pull it, just kind of slide it around and off. To get this cap off, if you wanted to change inside, you just put this on, use it as a lever, put it on here. So this is part 2 of cartridge rebuild. So I showed how to install a whole new assembly here for a Delta. This is a classic series Delta. It's actually discontinued, but their newer models are very similar. But I showed how to install this cartridge, and now I'm going to show how to replace just the inside parts. So if you want to just rebuild it, if you're getting a drip from the spout into the tub, it's most likely your the cone washers inside. So you can get the a kit for that. It's a valve seat, spring, and washer kit. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually get that original. I have the kit, an original kit, seats and spring kit, and I'm going to pop them in there. It's only a couple of dollars. This whole assembly is about, from the Delta store, it's about $70. The Delta website, it's about $70. I got this from the home center, and it's an Everbuilt, and it was only about $37. This cartridge similar to this. This is my old cartridge. I'm going to rebuild this old one here. So this cartridge assembly can be just repaired, rebuilt. So what you do is you have to first think about why you're going to rebuild it. What are the issues? Is it worth rebuilding? So if it's working smoothly and seems like it's got a value to keep the whole assembly, because really nothing really goes wrong with them except these seals. So again, we just hold the two parts here of the housing here, and we just push down and twist and pop it off. And then what we do is we just inspect it. Everything looks fine in here. There's no problems with that plate. But these gaskets wear out. So if I'm getting the drip out of the spout into the tub, I'm going to change out these. These are, you'll find these in other Delta faucets, even the kitchen faucets. So you just basically, you grab it and pull the cone up, put it to the side, take the spring out like that, and get yourself some new washers and springs. I like to put new springs because if they get too compressed, they're not gonna spring enough and press this cone washer against that stainless steel plate very well. So just make sure that's clean in there. Get yourself some new springs and washers, and just do the reverse order here. The fat part of the spring goes down to the bottom, so I'm just going to push that in, get both springs in. The narrow side of the spring is facing up, and I'm just going to put the cone washer right over the top. Give it a little push. I'm not going to push it in too far because I don't want to compress that spring. Just gently push it, and then I'm going to reassemble that. Find the grooves. There's going to be, you'll see some marking, the two where the hot and cold marks are, where the gasket touched that plate. It usually leaves a little mark, and I want to line it back up that way. So I'm just going to put it in and make sure when I twist it, it's going to line up to where it was originally. Then if I'm getting some other leaks, like around the some other issues happening, leaking from the around the escutcheon, around the shower body, I just see some drips, I can change out this O-ring here, and I can also change these O-rings out if I'm having any water seepage through where the valve is. So when this goes in the wall, these two ports are going to go and are going to seat inside. And if if it's not clean in there, I always clean the shower body before I put everything back in. And if it's not seating right, you can have seepage through, and then it's not going to work properly. You're going to have a drip, and it's going to be an issue. So you want to make sure you clean everything like I showed in part 1, and then you could put some lubricant on these here. I like to use something FDA approved because it's for potable water. So these can be changed out. You just put an awl behind the gasket, the O-ring, and you kind of get behind it. It's like this, let the screwdriver, let the oil go through a little bit, and then just work it right around like this and take it off. But I find 9 out of 10 times the issues with these are inside, because you're getting that drip by the tub. I haven't found any other problems with these, so it's a good design. What happens is you can just replace the gaskets, because there's no metal touching metal like in the old valve bodies, and then you would wind up wearing things out. When the gasket failed, you would have the metal touching metal, and it would mess up the seat, and then you would have to redress the seat. In this case here, just this rubber fails, and you only have to replace it. So it doesn't do any major damage when it wears out, like used to happen with the older fixtures. So before I put it back in, like I said, you clean everything like in part 1, lubricate this, get it to seat 100%. This has to seat all the way, otherwise water's gonna bypass. But you can also go further. You can take this all apart, and you can get all the O-rings required for this whole unit, and they're very cheap. They're only a few dollars. So I can even take this apart here. You just put the screwdriver in between, and I'll give it a little twist. So just like this. Just pop, turn it. So now it popped it, and I can just separate it. It's like this, and I can get all new O-rings in here if I'm having issues with it, the balancing. So, and then to get this off, okay, so if I wanted to change these O-rings out, I can. So 1, 2, 3, but I have to separate this so I can get that bottom O-ring in right there. So what you could do is use 2 screwdrivers, put one right down here like this, and then use this other one as a lever. Just get it in here like this, right here, and then I'm going to push down and pop it up. So that's it, popped right up, take it out. So let me show you what that looks like inside. Basically comes apart like this. This is all machined in there, so the only parts that we can change are the O-rings. So there's the 3 that we saw before, and then there's 1 on each side. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total inside here. So if you're having problems with the balancing of it, then you can change those out. But if it's not, then you can leave that and just, like I said, 9 out of 10 times, it's the the cone washers and springs. So that valve seat assembly. Let's pop these back in. And the easiest thing is to just put a new cartridge for a lot of scenarios, but if you know what to look for, you'll be able to decide, do I want a new cartridge or not. So let's put this back together. That's it. It's all done. Well, you get all the new parts. You can go online and get the kit to change all these parts out. So my kit was a this here was replaces the RP46074, and this is like the classic edition. There's several different models. So there's that blue and white one in the thumbnail, and that's different. That has it's shorter than this one. This is longer. This gray part and the blue and white can be interchanged, this top part, but the bottom, this bottom part here, can't be. So, because they're different. So you have to get the right one. So you do that by measuring and taking pictures, and then you can get the right parts you need for your faucet. Basically, I'm going to just write on this here, rebuilt, and this way I know I don't give anyone one that was rebuilt versus a brand new one. Rebuilt, and I'm just going to put it back in this container, the original container, drop it in, and then we're all good to go. So for the next faucet, and that's basically it. So that's how you rebuild your shower cartridge.